around, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
And welcome, race fans, to Sim Racing Media. Tonight we bring you the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series, Round 7 from Texas Motor Speedway. I'm Cliff up in the booth filling in for Liam tonight. Alongside me, Matt Metler. Matt, what can you tell me and the folks at home about DRL in the season this fall?
Great question. Glad to have you beside me in the booth here in primetime Saturday night. Well, as you know, Cliff, they say everything is bigger and better in Texas. Why not the best in the business in ARCA cars here tonight? That's right. DRL gets ready to go in this guns blazing as they look to set Texas Motor Speedway ablaze. On the pole there, no surprise, Thomas the Hammer Harmon. Cliff, I believe he is going for 5 wins in a row tonight. He is something other than human, almost like a machine out there, a Terminator on the racetrack. Matt Sizzler, that name you might know from the Midday Racing League, as that ending of the race at Daytona went viral as he pulled off Earnhardt's pass in the grass for the win. Look for the Sizzler to keep that momentum rolling as well. Just some of the big storylines here right now. So, Cliff, you better strap in. If you got a 5-point harness, throw that on too, as we already start to grid these boys up here. As you can see, the iRacing.com pace car getting ready to take these guys around the field on the initial pace laps.
So they're going to do 167 laps here at Texas. As you said, everything's just a little bit bigger. 1.5 mile track, but just about the biggest one we've got out there. We'll go ahead and pick up the grid here. And we talked about, as you said, Thomas Harmon grabbing the pole. Matt Sisler going to start outside of him in row number 1. James Pandolf's going to start row number 2 inside. Brandon
Broby, you nailed it.
Brandon Broby in the 45 is going to start 4th there with Richard Springer rolling off row number 3 on the inside. Taylor Butcher Benjamin going to roll off on the outside, starting 6th, row number 3. Jacob Drift's going to roll off 7th. James Goodwin's going to start 8th. James Jacobs going to start 9th, and Andrew McKenzie's going to roll our top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, in 11th, that's going to be Austin Collins. He won the first 2 races of the season, passes on last laps in both of them. 12th, David Wright. 13th, Larry McKenzie Jr. 15th, that's going to be Larry McKenzie. And 16th, the final starter tonight, and that's going to be David Vanderplatz.
Well, that'll do it for our field. Let's say we got myself up here with Matt Metler here tonight as we're going to get rolling tonight. Well, it's daytime out there right now. It's nighttime where I'm at. Of course, we're in a virtual world, so it'll always play a few tricks on you here. But we're looking out right now. Thomas Harmon, the backside of his car, the 68 Chevy. The rest of the field behind him going to be chasing him down when we go green here. One thing I do like about my notes here that I noticed and I took down earlier, Matt, no fast repairs in this race or in this series.
Yeah, no fast repairs, and that brings me to another highlight of this series. Cliff, we're only averaging 2.5 cautions per race, and that's including tracks like the Lady in Black Darlington, Miles the Monster. So these guys, they have a tendency, once they go green, they stay green until the end. And that fast repair could be a big part of the catalyst that promotes all this clean racing. It's clean, but I promise you guys, it is action-packed. So stay around, stick in, grab that popcorn, as Tony likes to say, because it's about to get wild.
Yeah, he sure does. Well, I'm loving what I'm hearing. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Some great paint schemes out here. I'm loving that they're using the old school Chevy cars. Call them market cars if you want, but these guys, this is their Pro Series. But make no mistake, this is their Cup Series, and these guys are going to get after it. I love green flag racing. I love long green flag runs, so I think I'm in the right place.
You are in the right place, and the nighttime is the right time. As you see that iRacing.com pace car pull off down pit road, which means Thomas Harmon, here we go, down to the Geico restart zone, and he is going to stand on it as they fire off down through the dog leg here at Texas, barreling down the front stretch. Thomas Harmon's going to have the preferred line and lead him down into 1.
Mixing it up right away into 1. I saw the 74 of James J.P. Pandolf. Got a big jump there on that start and almost caused some problems for Thomas Harmon in his rear end, but they stayed. He caught himself, didn't run him over, and that was impressive. I gotta say, you know, any other lower tier league, I would say that guy would have ran right through you.
No, you're absolutely right, and here's the reason why. I mean, Harmon has been just lights out in the last 4 or 5 races. You have to go on the attack, and you have to go on it early. You can't let this guy just have a freebie out there, because he will just walk away from you. So that's the reason why you're seeing the 93, like Matt Sisler, riding that momentum from earlier this week at Daytona, and James Pandolf. There's a guy right there that certainly has been fast at times, and I know he's looking to make a statement here tonight at Texas. So look for these guys to run as hard as they can to keep that 68 machine in their crosshairs.
Yeah, right on board there with JP. Chasing down Matt Sisler in second place. Thomas Harmon holding on to that first position. Matt Sisler got the Hugger Oranges. Beautiful paint scheme there.
Yeah, great looking race car here. Great looking camera work.
Ooh,
here
74
tonight.
is loose on the racetrack. He's going to drop back just a bit there. That's going to open up that gap to about a half second to second place.
Yeah, it certainly will. And as you know, Cliff, going from the banking like that to the flat, once you go ahead and you penetrate through that white line, that can be treacherous as the car transitions from the banking to the flat. And that was a great recovery there by that machine out there on the racetrack. That could have been treacherous, but we stay green. And there we go. The 22 starting to creep into the picture as well.
And James Goodwin there with a fast lap in that 22 machine, cracking the top 10 now into 9th. As Matt Sizzler, as we look away, actually takes that first position away from Thomas Harmon.
Yeah, don't look now, but the Sizzler, he is sizzling right now here in Texas. But I'm telling you, as something strange. Okay,
Sorry,
go ahead. Yes.
Going back here and showing that jump for the lead Matt Sizzler took there, but I had it queued up to the incorrect spot. We're going to roll forward.
Yeah, so we're going to take you back top side here right now as the 93 machine, Matt Sizzler, he is currently out on the point, and he is putting down a blistering pace as his last lap by was a 30:45. That's compared to Thomas Harmon's 30:63. James Pandolf right there, he was at, I believe he was at just a tenth or so slower. As here we go, here's the bag of tricks and the nifty stuff for you guys and girls watching tonight. How about this camera? Fox, eat your heart out. Yeah, we got our own suspension camera too, courtesy of the master of cameras, Cliff, who's running this show here tonight for us.
You're going to make me blush. I'm happy to be here, Liam, spending some time with some family, so he's not going anywhere. He'll be right here in the seat for next week when these boys take it back to Talladega and really show what these cars have for speed. But Liam will be back. Matt, you're a regular around here, and you can tell. So Matt Sizzler takes over from JP, and Thomas Harmon, he slides back to third. Tell me about some of these guys deeper in the pack. Who are you thinking we're going to see come late in this run?
Well, we have them right in the screen right now. Is these two right here often find themselves doing battle. I'm talking about Taylor, a.k.a. the Butcher Benjamin, or Taylor the Butcher Benjamin. He's another one that you have to watch. He's great on the long runs. In the last few weeks, it's come down to the 8 and the 68, mixing it up out there on the racetrack. No surprise that they are nose to tail right now. Let's come down a little further through the field. The Silver Bullet, for example. The 45 machine, Brandon Broby, he's quick at times. Austin Collins, the one. I like to call him the silent assassin. If you remember when we were in qualifying, I was telling you about how he won the first 2 opening races of the season, embracing his inner Kevin Harvick. Where did he come from with last lap finishes in both of those races to take the W? Let's come back to the McKenzies in 10th and 11th right now. Andrew McKenzie and Larry McKenzie Jr. These guys are fast at times as well. The one lone driver on our northern border there, the 22, James Goodman. Another driver that's good on the long run, and I like to call him Sneaky Pete because he just likes to kind of be off of the radar. Doesn't like really anyone talking about him. He just likes to kind of just do his thing, stay out of the limelight, if you will, and put himself in position when it counts. David Vanderplat's another really good driver, great talent there as well. His brother also races. There's a common name to see throughout the iRacing series. And you know what? Before we round out the field here tonight, myself, hey, I just went out there, took some laps out there on the racetrack, Cliff, and I can tell you this, it was slick. Those General tires, when they were cold, it did not want to grip. It definitely took a lap or so for those tires to come in. And if you wanted to run fast lap times, that car was a handful. And that's one of the things I love about this ARCA car. You really have to drive it. You certainly don't just mat it. As we go on board here with the Hugger Oranges, throwing back to NASCAR, I believe, 2005, if I remember correctly, as we look at right on board here with Matt Sizzler. Oh, there it is right there. It has the PS2 logo on it. I called it. NASCAR 05. this.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin's going to take that outside line, try to take this lead away from Matt Sizzler.
Yeah, the Butcher Benjamin knows that time to go now is now, because just off the back of this battle here, if you look who's closing in, it's going to be James Pandolf in that 74 and Thomas Harmon. So believe me, the Butcher knows the time is to go right now, because he's going to want to try and put as much distance between him, Sizzler, and the rest of the bunch here inside the top 4, top 5, especially that 68 machine, because he is so solid. He's almost unbreakable on long runs. He's a machine like robotic out there, if you will.
8 car going to sniff the inside, trying to take this lead away from Matt Sizzler as they go into 3. Sizzler now on the outside. 8's got the bottom preferred line. Can he make it stick? Looks like they're side by side coming out of the corner here at Giant, Texas. They're going to be side by side coming across the line. Just by a nose, Sizzler's going to hold on to that lap, but I don't think he's going to be able to hold on much longer.
Well, that's the thing, side by side, and Sizzler is putting a great defensive bout on right now. Is look at the side draft, the pitch, trying to keep that 8 machine of Taylor the Butcher pinned down and not letting him get back on the gas. But it looks right here that 8 may prevail if oh, look at that by the 93 machine. He got a decent run there through 3 and 4, and he's on the outside fighting for his life, trying not to let that 8 get by, but always going to get loose, as we see here from the onboard cam from JP in that 74 machine. He's going to recover it, but that's going to put P1 to Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Matt Sizzler falls back to second, but don't look now. He is also under duress from that 74, James Pandolf. All kinds of great racing going on towards the front, and that's what you expect to see from these boys.
I'll tell you, this top 3 is mixing it up, and I'm over here holding my breath, so I'm happy you were able to carry me, man. That 93 of Matt Sizzler did get loose and gave away that spot to the 8, but he caught it. He holds on to it. They stay rolling. This top 3 is setting some fast laps out here. We got about just over a 5 or 6/10 of a second back to the 68 machine, so a small gap, but he's catching up. So don't count him out. Jacob Drift, this 5th position, the 14 Chevy. Matt, I might need your help with this last name.
Jake, you're talking about 14. He's running the throwback paint scheme there of Tony Stewart from back in the mid-2000s. That's going to be Jacob Drift Gladich.
Got it. Well, Jacob Drift Gladich from Snellville, Georgia, up to 5th spot. He's up from 7th where he started, making a good run in that paint scheme.
Yeah, and I believe that's the first time I've seen him deploy that Burger King paint scheme on that car. And hey, those flame boiled burgers are firing up that machine, because like you said, he's up 2 spots. That car's looking really quick, firmly planted into the racetrack. As we can, look at this, shifting gears here as we see some action on pit road already. That's certainly, you would think, is an early pit stop. The 71 machine may have caught the wall there a little bit. I think I'm seeing some damage there as he comes back into frame. So he's going to go to work on that car. 4 tires and fuel is back up front. Here we go. As the Butcher pulls away just a little bit, he is swerving like Irvin. The 74 and James Pandolf trying to fake out the 93 machine as we get some great look at that suspension work. There you go, that Chevrolet V8, the heart and soul of that ARCA car. We're going to go on board here again with James Pandolf providing the views right now. This great camera action as we rotate through the corner here. You can really see a little bit of the different lines on the point of entry, how these guys are attacking the racetrack. Really love that view.
Well, Matt, what'd you say, since we're about 22 laps in now, we'll go through the field here. Taylor Butcher Benjamin holding on to first in that 8 Chevy with Matt Sizzler. We talked about these two a lot of action up front. The 93 here holding on to second place, but JP James Pandolf in 3rd position. Behind him about 3/10, don't count him out. You got the 68 of Thomas Harmon, and then your top 5, Jacob Drift Gladich in that 14 machine. Then behind him in 6th, we got Brandon Brory, and as he gets a pass done on the 14 machine, that'll give him 5th. That gives Austin Collins the 7th position, who's up 4 spots from where he started that number 1 Chevy Menards machine. The 06 Andrew McKenzie just behind him in 8th. He started in 10th, so he's up 2 spots here. James Goodwin, the Trojan man in the 22, holding on to 9th, and Richard Springer going to round out our top 10 here in this 21 machine.
Yeah, I'll bring you guys the rest of the way through the field as they run right now. In 11th, that 42 machine, the No Bowl, made famous by Jimmy Mr. Excitement Spencer back in the day. That is piloted by David Wright. In 12th, Larry McKenzie, the junior, in the race. I believe senior, 13th, he's going to be up 2 positions from where he started. In 14th, that's going to be David Van Der Pletz. And in 15th, James Jacobs, who is still on pit road. Hopefully he didn't retire from the race, but one can't help but wonder, as he's been there for almost 3 minutes now. Currently, looks like he's having some extended repairs done on that race car.
Yeah, James Jacobs either having some repairs done on the car. You know, we talked about at the beginning of this race, there's no fast repairs here, so any little bit of, you know, bumping and banging with other cars or rubbing up on the wall is going to affect your car. Do it enough, do it often, and you're going to need some repairs. Or, and here's another scenario that could be, you know, could have hardware issues. We're in a virtual world, and we've got a computer running our cars, not an engine. So things could go wrong at any moment, but you never really know when you're just watching. But we wish the best for James Jacobs. Maybe he'll get back out here. Maybe he won't, one way or another. We've got a great show so far, and it's been a wonder. You know, these guys are racing their heart out, and clean. You know, that's the biggest part here. You're racing hard and racing clean. I love it.
Yeah, racing hard, racing clean, and that's what this series has grown to be famous for. I touched on it earlier, but you know, I don't think enough emphasis and enough credit is given to these boys out here in this ARCA car with the limited amount of caution flags, especially on the tracks like the Monster Mile, like Darlington, where we virtually went flag to flag with tracks that are known for just eating and chewing up race cars. Not these guys. They are just that good out there. As we continue here to look at that 45 machine of Brandon Broby, that 45 number made famous by the late Adam Petty, and also then continue that legacy on by Kyle in that 45 machine. Just off the back bumper, closing back into the picture, that 14 as well. But if you go back up front, look at what's happening. The accordion effect on full display, comers and goers. The Butcher was at the point for a while. Now Matt Sizzler looking to sizzle on by him. Who's got the beef? He's got it cooking on the bottom side of the racetrack. And don't look now. Look who's just off the back of the 74. There he is, the creeper coming on in, Thomas Harmon.
Thomas Harmon creeping in to look or take a look at the top 3 here. Looks like the bottom line is going to be preferred as the 93 of Matt Sizzler. Well, he's still working on that 8, but he looks like he's going to get it this time. You know, I thought that last lap, but here he is, still side by side for first. Gets it done.
Whoa, look, I mean, it takes some skill to even try to think to run 3 wides. They look like the Blue Angels out there going by the start-finish line in almost a diamond formation. I don't know if that was planned, but that looked really cool as we go back on board here with Matt Sizzler, your leader, looking just how close and tight the racing action is. As you can see, JP, he's looking to rebound this week. I know he really wants a good finish here. Over the past few weeks, he's just been kind of in the wrong place at the right time and didn't get finishes indicative of how good he just was. But right on cue, here he comes as these tires get old and the fuel payload starts to run out. Thomas the Hammer Harmon, he is on the prowl. Look for him to keep charging his way on through the field, possibly be at the point before we see our first round of green flag pit stops.
Absolutely right. I was just thinking that, you know, going through some math in my head, and I quit because math is hard. 80% fuel cell here, and without any caution flags, what are we looking at for a window? Have you any idea?
Well, let's see. You just gave us the specifics. Right now, we're currently lapping work 33. I've seen Harmon and some of these other guys go 50, 55 laps with this fuel load. And they'll run it right to the brink of extinction. And I'm not talking extinction of the car. I'm talking extinction of the fuel in the fuel cell. So I'm going to say, lap 50, 55, somewhere around there, especially if we stay green. Oh, big moment there for Pandolf. He almost got speared by the front of the butcher there.
James Jacobs coming back off of pit road. I noticed he did come back and take a lap last time by, brought it back into the pits. Probably still working out some of the bumps and bruises there, but not sure where he got it, if he did get any of that damage we're talking about. But could be, like I said, a hardware issue and trying to get things worked out as well. So he's back out on the racetrack, albeit about 10 laps down now. So for all intents and purposes out of this race, but he's going to come out here and log some laps and get some notes for next season when they come back.
Yeah, as we're looking at that 71 car coming off of pit road. Look who's looking to take the lead, possibly on the high side of the racetrack. There he is, Thomas Harmon in that 68 machine, Mr. Primetime himself. As we go on board here, he's going to take a peek to the inside, but don't look now. We got a lap car potentially about to, lap car about to be in front of these guys. Let's see if he goes ahead and gets up out of the way. He does. Oh, he gets in the wall. Thank God he can keep it up there, as he did not want to impede the racing up front. And Thomas Harmon has painted a bead all over the back, looking to blow those oranges to smithereens, if you will.
There's a whole host of respect there from that lap car, willing to do harm to his own vehicle to stay out of the way of the leaders. More things that I love to see, and I can tell now why they stay green flag. No confusion on the racetrack, no one getting in the way. A lot of respect and really clean door-to-door racing as we got right now. Harmon and Sizzler battling it out.
Wow.
These races for the lead are just amazing and breathtaking, and we're seeing this is now our third leader. If Harmon can get back up there, well, I guess technically he started the race there, but wants it back.
Yeah, Harmon wants it back, and Sizzler does not want to give it to him, and I can't blame him, because these guys know once you give Harmon that clean air, especially on old tires, as we see, looks like the Texaco Haviland car back in the pits there. That's James Jacobs. But as we go back up front, okay, well, there he is, right on cue. Mr. Consistent Thomas Harmon, back to the point he has that fresh air. Now, what I can tell you, Cliff, is typically when he's in this position, at times he has been able to check out on the competition. And I think that's why you've seen just the level, the pace, and the intensity of the racing so high from the drop of the green flag, because, Sizzler, Pandolf, Butcher, Benjamin, Austin College, everyone's right down the pylon. They know they have to give Thomas Harmon a fight, especially in the early going. They cannot make it easy for him. But nonetheless, Harmon, he's able to thread the needle through there. He finds himself in the clean air and is already starting to put a half a second gap between himself and Matt Sizzler in that 93.
Well, as lap 40 is underway, we're going to jump side by side and take a moment, take a break here. Don't go away, you won't miss any of the action, and we will be right back as some of these drivers start to take a look at their pits and start to strategize out the next 10 to 15 laps, and we'll get our break done before that happens, so don't go away. Back live at the racetrack. Thanks for hanging with us. Lap 43 underway now as Matt Sizzler takes second position away from JP. Thomas Harmon still leading here. You saw the battle for second is really where the action has been. But meanwhile, we got a few takers on pit road. Andrew McKenzie, David Wright, and Larry McKenzie all on pit road getting their services done. We talked about. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, trying to get a jump on the tire situation. If I had to bet, because they want to make up some time, on Harmon potentially doing Harmon-like things, as he's out to the point and kind of doing what he does, and that's kind of walking away from everybody out there on the field, as there's already, virtually a second and a half interval between himself and the 93 machine. So why not short pit, if you will? And, you can see what the fall off is. I mean, take Thomas Harmon, for example. I mean, his best lap is a 30.08. Last time by, he ran a 31.83. One of the only few drivers still running 31-second lap times. Most of the others are in the 32.2 range. So you could see how, coming down and just getting a set of Dr. Feelgoods on that race car will improve their performance out there on the racetrack. As you can see, that 24 moving into the picture there, the Skull Bandit car made famous by Harry Gant, is James Pandolf. Man, he's been on a roll so far early in this one. That guy is definitely seeing red as he's coming down. Would execute a great pit stop, wonderful pit entry. That team's going to come over the wall, put 4 Dr. Feelgoods on that race car, pull a tariff, wipe the grill, and he'll be back underway here shortly. As you can see, the Jackman going to work at this time.
Yeah, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, the other car in as well behind him. Back out on the racetrack, Thomas Harmon continues to lead about a 1.7 second gap now on second place, which is now Austin Collins in the 1 Chevy as things start to cycle around. Andrew McKenzie and David Wright still on pit road. A little bit of an extended stay for both of those cars.
Yeah, a little bit of an
Sorry?
Yep, there we go. Right on cue, Matt Sizzler. Right around lap 47, that's typically where he likes to come down pit road on these cookie-cutter 1.5-mile oval racetracks. So that's definitely going to be a scheduled stop for that 93 machine. They're going to go ahead and get to work on that race car. But as you can see, Cliff, like I was telling you, going back to the top of the board, that 68 machine, the minute he was able to get that clean air, I mean, he was able to check out over a 2-second lead on the field as he's coming down now, making his scheduled green flag pit stop. And if he's on pit road, that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to guess that fuel cell was just about dry. So that's going to say, hey, lap, for as far as fuel reference, how far can you go? I'm going to say lap 49, 50, maybe 51 if you're really lucky. So that seems to be the fuel window for tonight.
James Goodwin's going to sit up on the top spot right now, holding off on his pit stops as Harmon, Borby, Springer, and Collins all coming in. McKenzie and Wright still on pit road, almost 5 minutes for one of them. Got some extensive damage there to fix up. As the 22 car will peel it off, James Goodwin coming down to get his services done.
I believe he's going to be the last car to come on down pit road and go to work and get refueled and slap some new generals on that race car. So as we cycle back to the front of the field, I believe that's going to put the 14, cycle the 14 to the front.
Yeah, Jacob Drifgaladic is going to grab the top spot here with JP, the 74, right behind him. Thomas Harmon is going to be scored third as things start to cycle through. And as they start to cycle, Matt Sizzler holding on to fourth.
Yeah, the Sizzler, I mean, all these guys, Cliff, I mean, James Pandolf, Thomas Harmon, Matt Sizzler, Taylor the Butcher Benjamin, Austin Collins, all these drivers you see inside the top 4, top 5, they are always going to do battle out here on the racetrack. Almost at times run every lap like it's the last lap. And it just goes to show you that you can have great thrilling, exciting, off-the-wall entertainment without bouncing the car off the wall and crashing each other. And you're seeing it already at times. They get close, they touch, but they don't wreck.
Yeah, a lot of side-by-side, door-to-door action here for the lead and second on back. And it's great. You know, it's great to see. It's refreshing. Long green flag runs really bring strategy into play, where you gotta make sure you're saving your tires and you're working your entire fuel run to kind of hang on to those tires, because you know you're probably not gonna see that caution. You're not gonna see that yellow flag to get you that caution pit and be able to get 4 tires and fuel and not worry about track position and all of that. But not here, not with these guys. These guys really got to think this through, make sure they're poised to get a good green flag stop run, no mistakes.
And you mentioned the word poised, and that's how these drivers virtually have to run every lap out there on the racetrack. You can't hit cruise control, because with these lap times and the caliber of experience that we have in the field, I mean, they are known to lap multiple cars. I think last week we only had the 3 podium finishers on the lead lap, if I remember correctly. So from the drop of the green flag, it's anything but easy. These guys are giving it everything they have. As hard, you know, not only the performance of the race car on the racetrack, but the crew chief, he's smoking the calculator on top of the pit box, just trying to find ways to stay in contention, because, like you said, those cautions are far few and in between, as we see that 14 now starting to fall back into the clutches. Oh, a little bit of illegal there as Pandolf tries to get a good run on the top side of the racetrack. He's going to sail it down there into the corner. Wait for that car to start to rotate. He wants to pick up the throttle, but if you do that too soon, and that happened to me out there in practice, you try to pick up that throttle just a little bit early, and she is slideways in a hurry.
You see where these two cars started. Jacob Drift Gladic is up 6 spots from where he started. Pandolf's been up here most of the race, but that 14 machine had to work his way up here. Had a great pit stop and got some great track position from it, as he's rocking that real high line there. That's the 74 of James Pandolf get by no problem. JP back to the top spot as 57 of 167 are complete here from Texas Motor Speedway. Watching the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series right here at Sim Racing Media. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit that bell notification if you want to get a ping every time we go live. Got a lap car there up high. Gonna stay up out of the way. The 74 of JP James Pandolf continues to lead this one. Jacob Drift Gladic back down to second with Thomas Harmon still holding on to third. Matt Sizzler back in fourth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin going to round out our top 5. Number 8 Oreo machine. Another great looking car. He's going to dive down to the bottom here, getting into the corner. That lap car, need a lot of lap cars here, sacrificing the paint to get up out of the way. .74 of JP is going to come around to complete lap number, or to begin lap number 60. Oh, and the caution is going to come out. Austin Collins having some trouble here. Let's take a look at what happened. This one machine looks like trying to slow it up to get into pit road is going to come across the grass here. I don't know if he made contact with that 42 machine or not.
If he didn't make contact, you couldn't have slid a piece of paper in between those two race cars. But still, masterful job. The one just looks like maybe he's just trying to get too much coming into pit road. He's going to take the Evel Knievel line through the grass, mow it down a little bit, and he just ever so slightly, I think, touches the 42 and locks it down. Great job by a veteran driver there, not letting that one machine come back up across the racetrack, as he's going to get it woed up just before he gets to the fringe. And just like that, we find ourselves under our first caution flag at lap 60.
Well, I'm not upset about this. I'm not gonna lie. Green flag runs are great, but it's like, all right, let's get them. Let's see what happens when we get these guys all on the same even playing field again. Kind of reset the mind state here. You're gonna come down, get another set of tires. Even if you came down recently, as you're seeing the whole field coming down, they're gonna take advantage of this. From what I understand, really rare caution flag. And let's see what this does for everyone here, and see who can get a fast pit stop done and beat this race off pit road.
Oh, look at that. Look at the smoke show. JP throws some dust at Harmon as he's going to beat him off of pit road. Wow, that was savage by James Pandolf. What a job in the pits. Are you kidding me? What a pit stop.
Jumping on board, looking back on the 74 machine as he left the field in his very distinct dust. He's going to roll off first position here when we get back to green.
I'm telling you, man, James Pandolf tonight, he's looking scary good. This man is on a mission. There is no reserve in that man's tanker that driving that car. He is going lights out, going for broke. But that's really how you have to attack this racetrack when you have these boys on it. You can't let off the gas pedal, Cliff, and I'm sure you're starting to see that right now. And you're right, that caution flag virtually gives everyone inside the top 10. The top 10 cars are on the lead lap. So as you like to say, we like to say, we're going to re-rack them, restack them, and give the clean air to James Pandolf. And how about Jacob Drift in that 14 machine? He was able to get the lead by being one of the first into the pits under that green flag run, and now he finds himself in second, up 5 spots from where he started. Matt Sizzler in third, Thomas Harmon, and Brandon Broby's going to round out your top 5.
Taking a look here from the bumper of Jacob Glodich as the pace car has lights on. We'll get two left here before we get back to green. We got the opportunity here to get reset. We'll do that. We'll get side by side here we won't. The drivers will. They'll get set back up. Get ready to go back at it with some fresh rubber. No sloppy rubber here. Full tank of fuel. And some ambition. Let's see who's got it. Brandon Broby sitting in 5th. Looking at the top 5 here, seeing what names we haven't seen too often. They're up in that top 5. The Sizzler, Harmon, Glodich, and Pandolf.
Yeah, all these guys you're looking at right now in the top 5, I mean, that's where you expect these names to be in this league. Certainly the 14 doing a really good job tonight. I don't want to say he's overperforming, but he's definitely making his bid for the win here. It almost looks like that clean air is really, really playing a factor here at Texas, as we've seen what's happened when some of these drivers are able just to get all that clean air, like the 68 of Harmon when he just kind of checked out on the field. And look how well the 14 was able to hang on when he got up there as well. So here we go. Here's a different look on the front row you typically don't get to see too often. JP, he's going to be the control car. You got Jacob Drift on the outside, and that 14. Cliff, take us to green, brother.
Pandolf, Glodich, 1-2. James Pandolf shoots out of a cannon. He's going to lead. Oh, the 14 up into the wall.
Oh.
The 68 is going to get by no problem. 14 in big trouble there, as he is actually slow to get going. Had to ride the wall and stay out of the way. We'll have to get a word with that 14 machine and see what happened.
You know what? I know what happened. I know what happened because that 14 knows he was over anticipating mentally what he had to do. He was so focused on getting a good restart there. He either missed a shift, accidentally money shifted for a moment, and then being a good competitor, he purposely put it up in the wall to stay to keep everyone else out of harm's way. The crucial, very very uncharacteristical mistake that he made. But look at that 74 machine. He just hit the nitro boosters. Is James Pandolf almost out to a 1 second lead over Matt Sisler and Brandon Broby? That 74 is going places right now.
He got an amazing start and didn't look back. At Matt Sisler and Brandon Broby. He said goodbye, not going to worry about what's going on behind me. Not even looking in the mirror currently, I'm sure. He's got a 0.6 of a second gap over the 93 of Matt Sisler, who just ran his fastest sector of the race. And, JP also ran his fastest lap of the race. So these guys are setting a blazing speed faster than from when we started this race.
Yeah, you wanted. I mean, that was a 29.90, not a 30.90, a 29.90. JP, what did you eat for dinner, man? I know it wasn't beef, so you got to get back to us and let me know in the broadcast after we finish up here tonight. Hopefully, we talk to you. You know, we interview the top three, as you know, Cliff. But if not, James, I want to know what you are doing before the pre-race, because you, man, are just. You are getting it right now, brother. I'm happy to see you out there putting on a show right now in that 74. But still, you can't say enough about that 93 machine running the throwback paint scheme to NASCAR 2005. I love seeing that car out there on the racetrack. Brandon Broby, that 45 no bull car out there as well. Out there on the racetrack. Taylor the Butcher Benjamin, he's up 2 spots in 8th. Thomas Harmon kind of just sitting lurking back there in 5th. You know, watch these boys potentially eat up their tires. Oh, and don't look now. I know I touched on it earlier, but Brandon Broby in that silver Bullet Coors Light car, made famous by Sterling Marlin back in the day. Well, he's usually in the silver Bullet car here tonight. Looks like he changed it up a little bit on me, so I apologize for that. But this is
looks like he's got the DS or the DRL series logo on the hood there tonight.
Yeah, awesome that you see him supporting the league, running the colors and the banners, if you will. But typically, he's got the silver bullet on that race car, and he likes to start making his bid through the field around the halfway mark or so. That's when he really seems to start pouring it on. So he's right on schedule as well here, as even though we've only had 1 caution flag, I mean, Cliff, we're already working lap 71.
Lap 71 underway of 167 here at Texas Motor Speedway, the biggest 1.5 miles we've got on the circuit. As the leader coming down the backstretch, getting into 3, that's JP in the 74 machine. Matt Sisler in the 93 holding on to 2nd, with Taylor Butcher Benjamin rounding out our top 3. Talked about Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 8 machine Oreo car, working his way back up towards the front here. Now holding on to what would be 3rd place podium finish. See if he can hang on to it.
Yeah, Richard Springer there in the Wood Brothers 21 machine. I know he's not running for the Wood Brothers, but that paint scheme there you've seen often through the late 90s, early and mid-2000s in that 21 machine. That iconic colors on full display there in that Ford Taurus, wrapped in that Ford Taurus paint scheme, made famous by so many legendary drivers. The Wood Brothers in racing, a staple in NASCAR, if you will. So I love seeing that race car out there on the racetrack. I believe that's the car Kenny Schrader drove at one point in time, that 21 machine, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you're right, and there's been a lot of famous names that have driven that 21 machine. It's just a famous number and team and car, and no matter who drives it, they're instantly their names are instantly in lights just from driving it. So that's great. I love seeing some of these throwback schemes that these guys taking full advantage of the ARCA body here on iRacing and throwing on the Ford. What is that, a Ford Taurus you said?
Yeah, that's definitely the Ford Taurus.
Yep.
Yeah, there's the Taurus nose.
I love that they have the ability to do that, and that some of these guys are taking advantage of that. As we blabber on about paint schemes, Matt Sizzler takes the lead. Something must have happened to the 74 machine of James Pandolf here as he drops back to third.
No, I think James either he went a little too hard on that restart and maybe burned him up a little bit and realized, hey, wait a minute, we're probably not going to see that yellow thing anytime in the near future. And maybe I think this is a strategy play by James. Just back it off just a little bit. Don't burn those generals up yet. You don't want to retreat in the form of tire because of tire fall off. So as we saw, like in the first run, they kind of traded hands, if you will, comers and goers. So that puts Sizzler back to the front. Matt Sizzler, as you said, Taylor the Butcher, Benjamin, James Pandolf, Brandon Broby, and that's Scooby-Doo on board Thomas Harmon machines tonight. Scooby is lit, especially on those long runs, as we seen the last time. And if we compare this run to the last run, Thomas Harmon's right on schedule.
A beautiful look at the 68 machine. Completely unrealistic virtual camera there to show off these paint schemes. I could just imagine it's a drone or something, I say.
Or we could just get one of these guys to put a GoPro camera on their car, which I think is very possible with modern technology. Certainly, if you reach out and high-five the wall, that camera is going to blast to pieces. But hey, it's Fox; they could afford it.
You're absolutely right. Andrew McKenzie's bringing his car down pit road. David Vander Plaat's also still on pit road. Extensive stay there, or coming and going, I should say. They keep coming around, getting some more damage worked out. What I love is that none of these drivers, from what I can tell, have given up just yet. I do apologize. James Jacobs in the 71 machine has taken his truck to the garage, or his car to the garage area. Looks like that 71 machine's probably going to be out for the night.
Yeah, that 71 may be out for the night, but he definitely did fight the good fight as he spent countless minutes on pit road trying to get that car at least to the point to maintain competitive lap speed. And that's really the only reason probably why James Jacobs decided, like you said, to bring it to the hauler. But nonetheless, the other 14 other competitors out there on the racetrack, business as usual. And I think we even have some pit stops going on right now, as I believe the 42, the 9, and others are hitting pit road, or there may have been an incident out there on the racetrack. Oh yeah, I'm definitely seeing some damage on the nose of that race car. Cliff, you seeing what I'm seeing?
Possibly.
Yeah, it looks like the front of that 9 machine is dented in like he hit a light pole out there on the racetrack, and you see some damage right on the number placard on that race car. Some great camera work here by the Jedi Master of Cameras here tonight. As far as custom cameras, even more so, with some great camera work. As you see the field going by at speed, as we jump back on board there with Matt Sizzler, as he continues to go by, that means that 09 machine is going to lose precious time out there on the racetrack, as he is stuck on pit road with apparent damage on the race car. So something had to have happened somewhere. While we were talking about the current trends of the race, something we'll see if we can get us to figure out what happened here. But as of right now, we remain green, as everything is done bigger in Texas, just like these boys are going big right now, letting it all hang out here in prime time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm happy to be here in prime time. Saturday night, usually not here broadcasting. Usually got Liam up in the booth with you, Matt. Liam spending some time with his family, taking the weekend off. If you're around tomorrow about the same time, we got plenty of racing tomorrow night as well. And throughout the week, you can catch myself and Matt, just a plug here for our own show, on Tuesday nights with the All-American Racing League folks. Catch us on Tuesday nights at 8. Great time.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are new to YouTube, make sure, or new to SRM on our YouTube channel, make sure you smash the like button, ring the bell. Cliff, we have more action just on Tuesday night. I mean, we got coverage each and every day of the week. So if you love esports as much as Cliff and I do, become part of the family. Join us daily. We got you covered for all your high-flying racing action.
Well said, my friend, as we're taking a look at the 74 of James Pandolf, holding on to 4th position. He's about 6/10 back from Brandon Borby in the 45. Taylor Butcher Benjamin holding on to 2nd, and Matt Sizzler holding on to that first top spot in the 93 Huggers Orange machine. What a great race car name, am I wrong?
No, and I thought there for a moment I was going to need to change my Huggies when when they had a moment a little earlier on there in the race. But the Dynasty Racing League boys doing what they do. They get close, they may touch, but they don't crash. And I over-anticipated what was about to happen. And that's even being up here now. You know, I think this is the 5th week we've been on board with the series, and it has been a pleasure every step of the way as we continue to write the inaugural chapter here with SRM as we've teamed up with them, and they've been bringing it every single week. As we go back on board here with the 45 of Brandon Roby, there's the 42 peeking to the inside there. As you can see, he's working the bottom side of the racetrack in the Noel Winston Chevrolet, looking like Jimmy Spencer out there, a.k.a. Mr. Excitement from back in the day. There's James Pandolf, 74 machine. He's back to 4th right now. Maybe he did use up his stuff a little too soon, Cliff. I mean, he did shoot out of there like a cannon when we went back to green.
Yeah, he really did. And you know, the more and more he starts to fall back a little bit, and watching his times kind of blow up just ever so slightly as time goes by, you know, I'm starting to think you're probably right. He possibly burned up his stuff there on that initial restart, and you know, that's the bed you lie in if you do something like that when you've got green flag runs here that just go very long. You don't get that opportunity to change those tires out.
You know, but I don't want to end that on a sour note by any means. I mean, this is by far the best run I've seen from JP without a shadow of a doubt over the past 5 weeks. He's still solid inside the top 5. Big shout out to him as we can go on board and take a look at how he's getting around the racetrack. You can see that steering offset in the race car. Guys at home, you saw that correctly. If you look at the center line of the steering wheel, you actually are turning right to go straight. That is correct. Every race car driver is a little different, right, Cliff? How they want that feedback from the race car to feel. But but he's literally turning right to go straight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's definitely, you know, every driver is unique. When they get behind the wheel, there's a lot of adjustments to be made, and that's just one of them. And you notice when he's getting through into the corners, you know, the steering wheel is almost just about straight, so that's kind of the way he likes it. Doesn't have to turn the wheel too much to get into the corner. So trying to keep it smooth and very, very little bit of wheel input is what he's looking for.
Right, and that's going to really help minimize or maximize stability when that car is loading and unloading in as that car transitions through the corner, especially with all that downforce on the race car when you're out there, you know, going 160, 170 miles an hour. Continue to go back through the field. The 14 there just doesn't seem like he's been able to rebound from almost a disastrous restart there, where he had some trouble. Oh, the 21's getting way up there in the Kyle Larson line. I don't know if that was designed. Oh, he touches the wall. He gives it a high five as he continues on down the racetrack. But all that rubber gets built up there, Cliff, and it gets slick. It's like being in bacon grease.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's what I was going to say. He probably got up into the rubble, and that sucked him right into the wall. Going to kiss it ever so slightly. Going to leave a little bit of that red Motorcraft paint on the wall. So 21 of Richard Springer having a little bit of trouble there, but it didn't seem to affect him all too much, so probably just a little bit of a rub there.
Yeah, I guess with this ARCA car, right, Gen 4 car, if you will, for all intents and purposes, if you're going to kiss the wall, that's right about where you want to hit it in this machine.
We're seeing the 14 on the bottom there. The 14 of Jacob Gladich is actually the first car one lap down. The caution at this moment would help him out, but I think the rest of the field would say nay.
Oh, I see a plume of smoke there.
Yeah. Good, you saw what I saw.
Yeah, someone there is either coming off the pit road or someone had a moment there, and that's why we've seen the smoke, and they gathered it up, and they're coming back through the gearbox there.
See if we can't get a kind of panned out view here, see anybody in trouble. Looks clean out there.
Well, we're working lap 95, 96, so as you like to say, that rubber's probably starting to get sloppy right about now once again.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers going to go out, probably start complaining about some sloppy rubber and want some fresh go fast on their car.
Yeah, I mean, as a race car driver, Cliff, I mean, if I got tires in the bank, any opportunity I get, I want the peace of mind. I want that security underneath me as a driver. It just really helps secure, the mental mindset, right? Knowing that you have that extra grip. It really helps fuel the initiative and the drive, well, at least in me, to go out there and be aggressive. Once I feel those tires start to go away, especially in an environment like this where cautions are far few and in between, I know that I have to try to be fast. But on the other side of that, I don't necessarily have the confidence to be fast because I can feel that race car starting to give up on me. And that's just one of the things that you necessarily aren't able to see at home when these guys are doing battle out there on the racetrack. It's just how hard it is mentally to continue to push that car on the envelope of grip, even when those tires start to give up on you.
I gotta say, you're absolutely right. But not to change subject, but I'm noticing this 14 machine of Gladich. We saw earlier when some of the lap cars just completely getting out of the way, basically putting themselves into the wall to stay out of harm's way, because they didn't have pace for the speed of the race. They weren't racing for anything really. But here you've got the 14 machine who is fighting to stay one lap down and be there for when the caution comes out. He's actually got something to race for, and he's able to race clean against some of these leaders without causing any problems whatsoever. And now, back to what you were saying earlier, for me, I wouldn't last in this league because I'm used to short flag runs in the leagues I run in, cautions coming out a lot. You're resetting every single time, getting a new fresh set of rubber. I wouldn't be able to hold on with these guys in this league, 60, 70, or 80, 90 laps without a caution flag. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't be able to. So that's a whole new mindset.
And to be fair, I wouldn't be able to hang with these guys either. I often find myself in the scenario that you just referenced. However, the other side of me as a race car driver tells me if I want to get better, specifically at long runs, if you want to up your ARCA game, reach out to James, reach out to these guys, because they're a great group out here. They expect you to race clean. They expect you to be professional. But if you want to if you say, hey, you know what, Matt, I can drive this ARCA car, I got something for them, reach out to these guys. They're still looking for more competitors. But me, that's why I would put myself out here in this situation. I just want to learn from some of the best in the biz. And when you have cautions that are so far few and in between, you're going to be put in that situation, right, Cliff, where you have to learn how to respect your car over the long run.
Absolutely right. As James Goodman comes down pit road here.
Trojan Man is on pit road. Oh, he's sporting the Magnums. Got those big side pipes on that car tonight.
So what we're gonna see now is a lot of these other drivers start to think. You know, once you get cars starting to hit pit road, you start to look at your own situation and figure out when you're gonna come in. You know, and as those words come out of my mouth, I'm sure 90% of these drivers already know exactly when they're coming in. They've already got it calculated. That's what puts them in a league of their own, and why you're seeing such great racing as you are. Top tier right here is what we got Saturday Night Racing, the Pro Series for Dynasty Racing League. I want to just point out, it's not your typical Cup Series out there with the, you know, your fixed setups. This is actually the ARCA car they're using, which is great. One of the honestly, one of the more fun cars for me on the service, at least when it comes to stock cars.
You're absolutely right, and I am so glad that this league is running the ARCA car, because they're showing off the capabilities of the race car, but they're also showing everyone at home just how tough and challenging this car is to drive, and they do such a magnificent job. Cliff, am I seeing some torting there on that tire?
You absolutely might, and you know, with these ARCA cars, it wouldn't surprise me if we did see some of that.
I mean, getting back to what I was saying, I mean, forget about, running this car flat-footed with poor Dr. Feelgoods. You can't do it. But tires starting to cord on these cars at this racetrack when the sun shines out virtually, that is a massive handful, as someone has a big moment there to get out of the way. I don't know if...
That's a 9 car at Platts here who's had trouble all night, been in and out of pit road, constantly getting some damage fixed up, just trying to survive out here tonight.
Yeah, I think he almost lost the car there as he was trying to, you know, be courteous and get out of the way. He went through a lot to save that car, but gets it back up onto the racing surface. Is the Sizzler here has pretty much been the storyline here of, I'll call it segment 2, since we went back to the green side of things here. And he's been running that 93, very consistent lap times. Last time by a 32.25. Taylor the Butcher Benjamin at a 29.95. Brandon Broby at 29.97. And Richard Springer a 30.12. As we see James Pandoff coming down pit road once again. He's looking for his pit box. But that's how close the lap times are, even with that amount of laps on the tires, Clip.
Yeah, he's just got a really great feel for his car and where it's at any given moment. And he's able to drive the car with confidence at any point in that run, as we see him peeling off now, Matt Sizzler. But yeah, he's basically on rails, you know. He seems like one of those drivers that can dial in the car and feel it out and know how to drive it.
You know, just to continue off of what you said here, as we see the Butcher as well coming down pit road. It's also is hard to get that car wound up under green flag conditions, not lose it and get that thing slowed up at the commitment cone, because if you come through there too fast, that's a massive penalty and almost impossible to overcome under green flag situations. So great job by all these guys getting onto pit road with tires that have basically gone to the null side of things.
Yeah, some of the looks like the top 3 and 4 are, you know, still on that the run we stopped at we pitted last on lap 60-ish, with Austin Collins being on 62. We've got a ways to go now, or we've got plenty of laps on those tires, so you're going to see the rest of these guys come down any moment here. Thomas Harmon and Richard Springer now, as I said, he comes in.
I think you might see Thomas Harmon here try to stretch this a little bit, and I know that sounds a little unorthodox here, but Thomas Harmon's so good at saving, so good at conserving, and I noticed he didn't really kind of pick his way up through the field like he potentially does, like we've seen in that first run. As look at James Pandolf coming by, no problem, on 4 fresh tires. It looks like he's got 100 extra horsepower, but I think this is a calculated move by that 68 machine of Thomas Harmon. I really want to see if we can pay attention just to how long he keeps that race car out there, because the longer you stay out, the fresher your tires are going to be against the competition. But how much ground do you have to gain before those tires equalize? I think that's going to come into play here as we start to wind things down. But back to the point, Thomas Harmon, last time by, he ran a 31.83 to James Pandolf's, wow, 29.89.
Yeah, another blazing lap by JP in that 74 machine. I just wanted to point out, too, Gladich Jacob Drift here in the 14 machine, currently back on the lead lap here the normal way. Pitted last on lap 80, so he will have to come in, within the next 10 to 20 laps. But a little bit of off cycle there as Thomas Harmon now peeling off.
Yeah, Thomas Harmon peeling off now. With
Whoa, he's got trouble.
Whoa! Wow.
Hang on
what
to
a
it.
save. Hang on to it, buddy. Scooby just looking for a Scooby snack there. Might have to go out the back door for a minute, regather himself. But Harmon gathers it up as that car was certainly destined for the grass. And he's going to be able to get it down into his pit box. But if Thomas Harmon's having problems getting on pit road, it must have felt like ice skates out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. David Wright coming in. Yeah, just a little too heavy on the brakes there. Probably didn't have a choice because he's coming in a little bit hot. And you see how long it actually took him to get it woed down and saved there.
Potentially just a little too much rear brake bias in the race car, because that's one of the things these drivers can adjust in that race car. One of the only things they can is it's that brake bias, and as those front tires like to go away and that fuel load burns off, you like to, as a race car driver, crank a little more rear brake bias in it. But you got to remember that when you're coming down to pit road heavy on the brakes, as we see the one of Austin Collins relinquishing the lead to come down and get service done on that one machine.
That's going to leave the 14 out here as we cycle around and take the lead, as he was once one lap down. Still has to make a pit stop, but currently can call himself the leader, Jacob Drift Gladich. We see the fight right behind him.
Yeah, the fight right behind him. He's got a bumper full of latex in that 22 machine. And just off the back of the 22, you got the Skull Bandit, the 24 Larry McKenzie Jr. These guys really now putting on a show. They're fighting hard out there.
And these guys have fresh tires on them. That 14's got older tires, so you know that they don't want to spend too much time waiting around for the 14 to let them by. And you see the 24 is going to put on the pressure, unlike the 22. He says, nope, I'm not waiting. Let's get through here.
No, and not to sound like a broken record, but that's a byproduct of what we're seeing out on the racetrack, right, Cliff? Virtually one caution. You really don't have time to be conservative or to be patient, if you will. As oftentimes we talk about, that's a great race strategy. Be patient. Let the racing come to you, per se. But when you don't have those cautions, when you don't consistently restack the field back together, you really can't get caught sleeping just for a moment.
Just going to bring our attention here again, once again, to Thomas Harmon in the 68 machine, running blistering fast times here. 29.8 last time by, and his fastest lap of this entire race was a 29.74. So I feel like we're just waiting for the 68 machine to make his way back to the front.
Yeah, I feel like we should have the Jaws violins playing in the background. Dude. If maybe if I hook my soundboard up, but we'll save that for another time. Look at this, just like you said, right on schedule. You said about 20 laps or so, and I believe that's right where we're at, lap 120 is the 14. He's sizing up his pit stall. He's going to go back to work on that race car. Cycle leader, who is it? Oh, it's 74, James Pandolf back to the front. He is putting the peppers on these boys tonight. He's going for broke, and I love it.
Yeah, I think when the 14 was starting to get run over there by the 22 and the 24, he thought, you know what, this is about enough of these get this set. I'm going to go in and get another fresh set and take it off to the end here.
Yeah, well said. I couldn't agree with you anymore myself. So let's repaint the picture here, Cliff. We got the 74 out front. He's the leader. He's got all the clean air in the world. He's got some traffic, though, just up in front of him. But James Pandolf, he's going to be the leader as we run right now about 0.8 of a second back. Wow, I mean, about a half a second back as the refreshes. You got Matt Sisler in the 93 just off his back bumper. Beautiful camera work. Hey, if you're hungry, why not some Oreos and some milk and cookies there? As he's going to peel down to the inside of the racetrack, looking to make a move on the Oranges 93 throwback paint scheme of Matt Sisler. Ooh, don't look at that. I would see if I was in that position right there, I would have slid up and hit the 93. There's no way I could have ran that pace holding the bottom line like that, because, I mean, that's what this track and this car wants to do. When you rotate the center like that, it's just inertia takes over, and that car wants to transition up towards the wall. Two great drivers, executing great racecraft and great racemanship out there on the racetrack, dueling it out side by side, but firmly holding their line.
The racing doesn't get much better than this. Side by side, corner after corner, lap after lap. That's Butcher, Benjamin, and Sisler. As they finally get it sorted out, the 8 car is going to take the second position away from Sisler. But he's got to watch out here for the 22 of Goodman, who's going to go a lap down. He'll give him the courtesy and jump to the bottom, let these leaders get by without a problem. That 8 is going to go on the hunt now for the 74 machine of JP James Pandolf. Sitting in the point right now. We got about just under 40 to go.
Yeah, so before we broke the cover of that story there, as it was breaking on the racetrack, we were kind of running through the field there talking about lap times and kind of just repainting the picture. Thomas Harmon, he's currently has the freshest tires, I believe, out there on the racetrack. But Cliff, he finds himself 4 seconds back, working lap 125. Can he make it? Can he make the comeback if we stay green? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think he could, but the problem he's probably going to face is he's going to have to push the car pretty hard to do it. And it's probably going to eat up a little more of the rubber that he's used to when he's normally out here just running at a conservative pace and line. And, I would expect him to, I'd expect to see him eat up a little more of his vehicle or, his car and his tires than he's normally used to. I could be completely wrong, but that's what I'm feeling.
And I agree with you. That's certainly going to put Harmis in an uncharacteristic spot versus where he normally is this point in time of the race. But right now, like I was talking about, just great lights out driving by JP. But don't look now. The Butcher's looking hungry for some T-bone steak because he's putting the pressure on 74. Painting the back of that car full of Oreos. Oh, JP gets loose. I believe he washed out the racetrack just a little bit there. I see him keying up in race communications. Oh, it's their side by side.
8 machine's going to look to the inside of the 74 of JP. He's going to fall back to second. The 93 of Sisler's going to look to take away second from JP now.
Yeah, a lot of times, right? I mean, if you get out of shape or if you allow one car to get by, sometimes, that train just, cycles right through. Once you get out of the groove, the other car, the car that was behind that car, the trail car, sometimes is able to just follow and thread the needle right through. And that's what Sisler was able to do there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Very well said. You usually don't lose just one position when the racing is this competitive. You've got top 4 cars, 3 or 4 cars fighting for essentially one position, and that's the top spot. Everyone wants that win. Sometimes you've got to settle for second and third. We'll talk to our top podium drivers at the end of this one as we're getting down here to the nitty-gritty. These laps are starting to tick away. 37 laps left here for the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series, live from Texas Motor Speedway. As it's been quite the exciting race here today, and I don't want to say uneventful, but from what I'm generally used to seeing here on some of these iRaces, filled with cautions here. As the Matt Sizzler machine.
Whoa, hold it.
I don't know if he did not speed in. I'm gonna say that right now. We'll see how it plays out. But man, he had to get it woed up. You think he did?
As good as Matt Sizzler is, if he did, that's got to be the greatest brake job of a lifetime that I have seen at that line, because he definitely had his heart skipped a beat there on pit road entry as he went from braking into saving, if you will, and still having to keep it on pit road. But nonetheless, great job on that 93. We'll have to wait for race control, timing, scoring to catch up here with him to let you guys know at home for certain if he was indeed caught speeding on pit road. But
coming back out of the racetrack now. We'll see if he got a pass-through penalty here. I think he's okay, unless he has to come back in. We'll see.
Yep, we'll certainly try to keep an eye on that for you guys as well. But back up front, it's the Butcher's turn. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he's leading up 5 spots from where he started. That's going to move James Pandolf, JP, back 1 position. And look who is up to 3rd.
Yeah, the 68 machine of Thomas Harmon works his way back up to 3rd. He's going to be a miracle for that 74 machine now too, as he's going to try to get that pass done. Now, I'm noticing here the sun is starting to slightly come down. I don't think it's going to be a factor much, but you can see some of the shadowing has changed over the racetrack, which you don't really notice here at Texas. And we're not going to get into a night situation here, as this race will start to wrap up here before the sun does actually go down. But I'm sure that the handling does change just a little bit in that shaded side of the racetrack.
And you know what? You bring up a great point there, Cliff. And I'm sure, Harmon and other drivers are aware of it. As you can see that JP is virtually acting as a blocker, a goalie, if you will, preventing that ball to come by. And that ball's, in this case, 4 General Tires in a race car. But he did not make it easy for the 68, tried to make him use up a little bit of stuff there. But Harmon does execute the pass. So now he is up to 2nd. He is now just a 2nd behind Taylor the Butcher Benjamin. That 68, like you said, he may have just decided, okay, it's time to go. Let's put the gloves on just a little bit tighter. Let's grip the wheel just a little bit more, and let's push that pedal a little bit harder. And that certainly seems to be the case, as Thomas Harmon is now the man on the move. Last time by, I believe he was the fastest guy on the racetrack at a 31.45 to Taylor the Butcher Benjamin's 31.65.
Yeah, definitely the fastest on the racetrack last time by. Still also holds the fastest lap of the race. So this guy knows how to get it done. That's Thomas Harmon. We're riding on board with the 8 of Taylor Butcher Benjamin as Harmon starts to set his pace and set his crosshairs on the 8 machine there. Got a little bit of work to do to catch him, but I guarantee you within the next few laps he will.
Yeah, something tells me Scooby is looking for a Scooby snack in the form of an Oreo as he continues to just... Oh, look at this! How did they both get down? Are you kidding me?
No words. And they're side by side coming down pit road, so that tells you how close they were. Who's going to have to get out of the way first here is the question. Like the 8 has to whoa up.
Did the 68 pass the 8, or did the 8 check up early to let the 68 go by? I hope Harmon didn't get caught speeding there, as they virtually hit their pit stalls at the same time. So this could be the money stop there, perhaps. Well, it is the money stop, but could that be the race for the race win there right off pit road?
Like the 68's going to win it.
Yeah, the 68's going to win the battle off of pit road, but as you know, the 68, either this run hasn't shown his early speed as far as that green flag run goes yet, when the tires are new on that race car, hasn't shown that he's been fast on 4, but we know he's been fast at times out there on the racetrack. We're going to have to see now, because as we get ready here to close this one out, the 68 It's his race to lose at this point in time. Does the Butcher have what it takes on the short run speed to go up there and get him as we see more pit stops underway on pit road?
Yeah, that was Brandon Borby coming in as we're on board with the 8 machine now. James Pandolf currently our leader. 74 machine pitted last on lap 107. Starting to see his tire fade as well, I'm sure. This is getting down to the end here, and you're going to see a lot of different strategies start to play out.
Well, let's see here. We're looking at lap 141.
Oh, James Goodwin is sideways
wow.
on pit road. I am sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's perfectly fine. But another great save. He didn't put it in the grass, and he didn't hit the pit wall. Let's go. Yeah, widen that back.
Yeah, you know, I was going to try to jump back and try to find exactly what happened, but I figured why not just rewind the tape here a little bit. You know what happened. Had to get woed up here, coming in way too hot. Locks up the rears, and the back end comes around here.
Yeah, and just ever so slightly just taps the inside wall there. Does JP try to run the gauntlet here and make the fuel and the tires last? Or is he on the same strategy and everyone else? What I mean by that is he, yeah, there he comes down pit road. So now we know that this indeed is the 68's race to lose.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, the 8 machine of Taylor Butcher Benjamin just knocked Thomas Harmon off the top when it comes to best lap times. If you take a look at your timing and scoring, laying down a 29.70. I guess what I'm getting at is the 8 machine is pushing hard, and so I think what we're going to see is the 68 and 8 battle it out to the end here.
Yeah, that's how it's setting up, and these two at oftentimes find themselves battling it out on the racetrack, Cliff. And every time they do, it's always it's pay-per-view caliber stuff, man. That's the only way I can put it. It's thrilling, it's exhilarating, and I can't wait to see who the victor is going to be at this one, as we are suddenly closing in on the final laps.
There we looked at the leader there, Richard Springer, who's currently leading, pitted last on lap 110. We jump back to the 8 and 68 battle. That's the most exciting on the racetrack currently. As the 22 is going to cause some mix-up right there, and some smoke in front of him. The 9 machine going around here. David Vander causing a little bit of trouble. You know what he was trying to do? He's trying to get out of the way again there, and some things happened too fast. Let's try to see if we can't figure out what happened to David Vander in that 8 machine.
Have you ever? What in the? I'm speechless.
Yeah, rough decision there for that 9 car turning down into the 14.
Ouch! Oh, and he hits the Oreo machine as they just virtually have nowhere to go, as there's a spinning howitzer suddenly in front of the leaders on the racetrack. Well, I said before they averaged about 2.5 cautions a race. They're right on schedule, but can you believe what we're witnessing as the 14 and the 8 touch? The 8 comes up and clobbers it in helicopters, and the 8 gets a good bit of damage to that race car, essentially potentially ending the 8's shot at the win here. Now that's going to re-rack and restack the deck on top of it, Cliff. Oh my God.
I mean, I got to say, I can believe what I saw. I've seen it before, you know, in my years of broadcasting. It happens a lot. And what we saw was the 9 was honestly, from what I could tell, was trying to get the heck out of the way. And things happen fast when you're a lap car and you're much slower than the race pace. And you've got cars on the outside and inside, and you're just trying to make the right decision to get out of the way. We've seen him put it in the wall, you know, in earlier instances where he was getting passed by much faster cars. So I know he didn't do that intentionally, and just that 14 car caught him by surprise on the inside, and you know, the rest is history. So I'd say no fault at all to the 9 car, just trying to do the right thing and get out of the way. But it all happened really fast, and that's the outcome right there, unfortunately.
and you're absolutely right. And I never thought for once it was intentional. And when I made the comment, have you ever? And you're right. And you're absolutely right. This does happen in racing. I haven't seen anything like this in this series.
Fair,
and
yeah.
for it to, and having it happen right in front of the lead battle, I mean, it was inches from being disastrous for the 68. The Butcher Benjamin. That could have very easily wiped out the top two.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And the 9 machine taking their car to the truck, they're gonna call it a week. And you see that, it's that car obviously has no sponsorship on it, so it looks like possibly David Vanderplaat's trying to work hard at making a name for himself out here. I don't exactly know his history, but possibly gonna come back next week at Talladega and give it another try. But gonna call it a night for today.
Yeah, and while we're under caution here, and let's shift to next week just briefly here, Cliff. Talladega, a completely different beast, different monster than what we're seeing right now at Texas.
Yeah, especially with these cars. In a way, you have to drive these cars a little bit at Talladega. It's not like you're used to just flat out nose to tail all the way around the place. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it will be that. But there will be plenty of feathering and a lot of song on the wheel, I guarantee you. Liam will be back, so I won't be here with you next week, so I'm sure you'll have fun either way.
Well,
probably going to be exciting.
Well, the other part is, too, the front of this car kind of acts like a javelin or a jacker. It can easily pick the back of the car up as well. So bump drafting, probably going to be another big storyline there as we see the lights go out on that Ford Mustang. Lap 148, they're rolling. We're going, the scheduled distance here is lap 165. So we're getting ready here to pretty much go shootout style here, Cliff. Who are you liking on the front row, or is it going to be someone, potentially the 74, or does the 1 come up and maybe play spoiler?
Well, I don't know if the 8 didn't get much damage at all, but he didn't spend any extra time on pit road getting anything fixed up. So I'm looking at the 68, but let's see between the 68 and 93. Whoever can get the big start, looks like the 93 is going to shoot out of a cannon. 68 is going to be left behind, but the 68's got the machine to get it done. He's got 20 laps to do so. They get a little bit spread out there around the back as they go 3 wide, about 5th on back.
Oh, look at that Hornets Nesta Bruin, back 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place there as they know their opportunity to gain positions on the racetrack. And oh no, the Butcher is off the pace. I was worried about the damage on that race car. Sometimes in sim racing, just the modeling does not reflect on what we're showing you guys. But I think that's a big reason why we've seen him fall back off the start of that race. I just don't think that car is performing like it was before that incident out on the racetrack. And up to the front, look who it is. It's the 68, but the 74 of Pandolf. Hard on the prowl, racing his lights out, running a race of his lifetime here in this series. He's in second position, and he is doing everything he can to not let that 68 get away.
The cream has risen to the top here with 17 to go. Thomas Harmon, James Randolph, Matt Sizzler, our top 3. We've been talking about them all race long. The number 1 of Austin Collins there now throwing his car into the mix. But this top car, the 68 of Thomas, it's going to be his race to lose with JPJ.
Race. This has been a performance to hang your head high on, sir. You have went far beyond what we have seen up here in the booth from you, and you are in it to win, my friend. So no matter how it shakes out, great racing by the 74. But how about the 68 machine? He's going for 5 in a row right now, Cliff. Could you imagine winning 5 in a row in a sanctioned league event?
Never, no. Just looking at the battle here for 4th as Sizzler and the 45 of Brandon Broby mixing it up here on the racetrack. 15 to go, as it looks like Sizzler might have used up his car a little bit, or he's trying to cool up these tires here to make another run at the 45
look at this.
of Broby.
Look at this, the 74. He's going topside where Mama hides the cookies. He gets a little too far out of it, though, as he was racing side by side, trying to overtake Harmon on the outside. That's going to leave the one. Mr. Where Did He Come From? Who won the first 2 races to start the season off with last lap passes. Does he have what it takes to go up there and steal it from him?
We saw some other cars get up into the rubble there and fall back. 74 happens to him. The one car of Austin Collins capitalizes on it. Now he's got the 68 in his sights. 68's been fast all night, or all day. The one of Austin Collins is fast now. 14 laps to go, 13 as we cross the line. The Dynasty Racing League Pro Series.
Yeah, 13 laps to go as they cross the line, like you said. And believe me, that mystery machine out there is running from misery business just off the back bumper. We often talk about in racing, you got to have friends out there on the racetrack. Believe me, they know how many wins that 68 has. That one is looking for dominance. He is, looking to regain his dominance, I believe, as he kicks him on the outside.
He gets that pass done. The 74 and 68 are now side by side. They've got to be careful as the 74 is going to make that pass on Thomas Harmon there for second.
Yeah, Thomas.
Harmon holding on to that bottom side, hugging that white line. He's going to get that pass done on Harmon. Harmon's going to fall back to third.
Yeah, as Harmon falls back to third, and the one machine of Austin Collins carries the torch to the front, carrying the 74 of Pandolf with him. But now, we're not done yet. Did 68 just play the ultimate chess game match of the lifetime here and throw a curveball at these guys and let them go and burn them up? And is he going to run them back down? Or did the way those pit stops in that caution cycle come out impact the 68? We're just going to have to find out here, as I think the 68 is starting to fall a little further back than he would like right now, Cliff.
Yeah, might have used up his stuff there on that restart, trying to make sure he got a good start and tried to hold off some of these other faster cars. I don't think anyone saw this one car coming, and I think they had to use up their car to just use up the rubber just a little bit too much to try to stay ahead of him, as we got 9 to go now, and this one machine is starting to pull off when it matters. 0.7 of a second ahead of second place, 74 of James Pandolf.
Yeah, Mr. One, don't sleep on me, Austin Collins. Back to the point. Virtually going back to the opening races of the season here, when he essentially won those races with a last lap pass. Yeah, he certainly made a pass late in this one. Wasn't the last lap, but don't think JP is given up by any stretch of the imagination, as he just about touches the grass there, looking very old school Dale Earnhardt with that one.
He's trying to get every piece he can is what he's doing. He knows this time is up, and he's got to catch that one machine if he wants to make it a win. Sitting in the second spot, he's on the podium, but he would love nothing more to see a win here today. But he's going to have to catch that one machine. I don't know if he's got enough car left in him.
Well, believe me, that one and that 74, and I think everyone else in this field probably wants a win as bad as anybody because of that, just that dominance week after week after week by that 68 machine of Thomas Harmon. Austin Collins, that one machine made famous by Martin Truex back in the day when he was with DEI, out there leading the pace around this Texas Motor Speedway, as he continues to pull away ever so slightly from James Pandolf. That gap growing, almost getting ready to eclipse a second. Thomas Harmon, 1.45 seconds off the lead. Or did he possibly get a little bit of contact in that deal with the 8 machine? We're going to have to find out for you and after post-race interviews. But right now, we got to get you to the finish, and all signs point to Collins.
5 laps to go, this time by Austin Collins, trying to hold off the whole field. He's got a little over a second gap now in the 74. 68 of Thomas Harmon has found himself sliding backwards, going the wrong way. About 2 seconds ahead of Brandon Borby, though, so probably going to be able to finish pretty comfortably here in third, barring any unfortunate mistakes or unforeseen things happening. Maybe some debris on the racetrack or something. You never know. Four
Yeah,
to go.
someone could throw a water bottle out there, Cliff. You're right.
Yeah, I've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah, we've certainly seen just about anything and everything happen in ways for caution flags to come out. But we can't say enough about the drive and the determination and the never give up demeanor and attitude with Austin Collins and James Pandolf here tonight. Even that 14 machine definitely gave it everything he had. We've seen him out front leading laps. You know, battles going on also all over the racetrack here right now, outside of the lead at the point. But we're getting ready here for the last lap here as we're working lap 165. Back to the front we go. Back to the one of Austin Collins we are, as he's tracking down the backstretch one final time. He's looking for the entrance to turn 3.
I don't know about you, but I got 3 to go on my screen.
I'm showing lap 165 on my screen.
Yeah, and we're going 167. So we got 2 to go as the one goes by the checkered start finish line there.
I apologize, folks.
That's all right. I knew you'd
got
come
caught up
around.
in the racing there. I thought we were going to 165.
No, so as the one car of Austin Collins comes across next time, he will grab the white flag, which will mean next flag will end it. I don't think we'll see a caution. But, you know, as we said, weird things have happened late in races before. But final lap here for Austin Collins, as he's going to take this one machine around one last time to take the first position.
One more time around, one more circuit around this 1.5 mile oval. They say they do it bigger in Texas. They do it better in Texas. And Austin Collins is going to do it better than all of them here, as he's going to come back and reinsert his name as one to beat here as he goes across the start-finish line. Give it to Austin Collins. But a huge shout out to James Pandolf in that 74 machine, going full send from flag to flag as they finally dethrone Thomas Harmon, who comes home in a solid third place finish.
Yeah, what a great end to this race, a great action-packed race. And, you know, you see some of his co-racers there giving him a little congratulations there for Austin Collins winning in that one machine. Stay tuned at the end of here. We'll get our top 3 in the booth as the one machine will come around and hopefully burn it down for us.
Yeah, and also honorable mentions there. Brandon Broby in 4th, Matt Sizzler in 6th. The Drifter able to hold on to a top 10 finish there, as we see the one burning it down Texas style. And rightfully so, as he's going to take the rest of what's left in those generals and turn them to the sloppy side of things, as you like to say, sloppy melted rubber. And that's what's getting planted all over that racing surface at the start-finish line.
Yeah, hats off to Austin Collins grabbing that top spot. As he continues to celebrate, we'll go ahead and grab our third place finisher, Thomas Harmon. Thomas, Cliff, and Matt up here in the SRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, 2-4, I got you.
Yeah, man, heck of a run. For all intents and purposes, we really thought you were going to have the car to beat here tonight. Really fast all day. Take us through your race. What happened there towards the end? You started to fall back.
Yeah, just no tires at the end. We only had 4 sets. Took a gamble, used the last set, expecting, or not really expecting, but hoping it'd go green to the finish, because it would have been, I know Collins was going for a fuel run, trying to stretch the fuel, and Sitzler was on about 6-7 lap older tires, and so I was going to run him down. Well, I don't know if we would have gotten to Collins. I might not have been able to run Sitzler down, but I was going to do all I could. Just no tires didn't bit everybody that wasn't Austin Collins.
Yeah, copy that in 10-4. So amazing run either way. one of the fastest cars out here tonight. So congrats about that. What do you got for Talladega next week?
That's going to be a praying kind of week. Just being alive at the end is going to be the biggest thing. So hopefully we can do that and be there at the end finish.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, good luck to you next week. Anyone you want to give a shout out to before we send you back?
Yeah, give you guys a shout out up in the booth for broadcasting it. Fans that show up each week, the drivers, and JP for putting on the league.
Absolutely, man. We'll appreciate you coming out and racing hard.
Sounds good. I'll see you guys later.
That was Thomas Harmon, our third place finisher. We'll go ahead and see if we can't grab James Pandolf here. JP, Cliff and Matt in the SRM booth. You got us?
I do.
Wild race there, action-packed. One of the fastest cars out here tonight, alongside with Thomas Harmon and Austin Collins out of nowhere to take this one. What was your thoughts there when you saw that one machine making his way through the field?
I knew it was going to be strategy based. He was saving his fuel, and he claims he would have had enough as we were all coming down to pit. And I was torn between pitting or trying to stay out and hope for a caution. And of course, one came one lap after I pitted, so that kind of ruined my day a bit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and we surprised by that caution as I was getting an earful from Matt and how great this league is and how clean the racing is, and I definitely hats off to you and your crew for running it. And I'm seeing great action with a lot of clean, respectful racing on the racetrack. So awesome group you got here. Anybody you want to give a shout out to before we send you back to celebrate Pete?
Yeah, just thank you to everybody that comes out and races each and every week. Thank you to you guys for putting on the broadcast. And without you guys or the drivers, this league would have been going on for 10 years already, and hopefully many more years to come.
Well said, man. We'll appreciate it, and good luck next week out in the equalizer that is Talladega.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good one.
And
Hey,
Matt,
real quick before you drop them loose, James Pandolf, now that's how you drive, man. That's what I'm talking about, dude. I was up here cheering you on that whole race, dude. You were lights out. I could see the determination and the go-get demeanor that you had poised behind that wheel. You gave it everything you got out there, man. So I'm happy as hell for you. I'm smiling. I hope you are too, because that was a heck of a run tonight, man.
I appreciate it. It means a lot. It's been a little bit of up and down start to the season. Talladega, I have one win in the Grand National Series, and could have had a second one, but I contact at the end of the trial. Well, you know how that goes, and hopefully I'll be able to get another one here next week.
Yeah, excellent, man. I just wanted to give you a massive shout out. That was lights out. Brilliant driving by your part, man. Enjoy that finish. I know it was P2, but man, I was up here smiling the whole time, watching you out there just blistering this place up.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
There you have it, the 74 JP, and we will go ahead and grab our race winner, Austin Collins. Austin, it's Cliff and Matt in the booth. You got us?
I got you. How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing great. Not as good as you, though. Coming out of nowhere to come across the line first in the number one machine. Congrats to your P1 finish. Matt, what do you got for him?
Well, Austin Collins, if it's not the 68, it's the one being number one here in Texas. And you kind of do it in similar fashion to earlier on, beginning of the season. I know those first two wins, they were last lap passes, but we have a freak caution come out there, and on the restart, it just seemed like you had the car dialed in. You were fine-tuned and fully committed, full send in that race car, and you go ahead and reassert yourself in that one machine. Is that force to be reckoned with here in the league tonight? Walk me through that race and walk me through that last section, that last stint. Did you know once you had the car, or once that caution came out, that you had the car to beat?
To be fair, that caution actually threw a wrench in my plans. I thought I was good to win the race without the caution. I'd been saving from both stints that since we got the caution earlier in the race, whenever I got a little bit of damage. Well, I'll start back. The first stint, we so I ended up driving up, I think, to like second behind Thomas, and before pit stops happened, and we pitted, came out. I was just kind of riding at that point, and the 42 and the 9 got into it off of 4, and trying to avoid them, I went going through the grass and sliding back up into the track, and I got a little bit of damage. And so whenever I got that damage, I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to beat Thomas now. You know, if I don't have a perfect car, I'm not going to beat Thomas. He's too hard to beat. So I had that damage, and I was like, it's kind of close on fuel here. I decided just to try to make it on fuel, and I was good there until that yellow came out. I think I would have been good. I know Matt was coming, but I think he would have burnt his stuff up by the time he got to me because he was pushing real hard. So, but that caution, once it did come out, I knew I had fresh set of tires. No one else did. I think JP, but all I had to do was just, couldn't let Thomas bully me. I had to push him up the track to get around him. But once I did, it was clean sailing.
Congratulations, man. That was one heck of a race, one heck of a drive from you in that one machine tonight. Next week, we kind of change things up a little bit. We go from the 1.5-mile oval to the high banks of Talladega. How do you prepare this week for that racetrack? It's got to be a little bit different than how you approach this track, correct?
I'd say so. Yeah. It's just these cars at plate tracks it's different. Different than any other thing on the service here. You can't really push too hard, or you can't push at all really in these cars at plate tracks. So it's just about mainly finding people to work with. Hopefully there at the end you don't get left to dry, and just trying to stay out front there whenever we get to Dega.
Well, there you go, folks. And anyone that's racing here tonight on the track, he certainly throws his card in the ring for one you want to work with. You want him as a buddy next week at Talladega. Austin, before we cut you loose, sir, who do you want to thank on that machine who helps you get it done on that hot rod?
I thank you all for doing the broadcast for us. Y'all do a great job. I got to thank JP for putting on the league. That's been here, first league. Always enjoy coming out here. Well, most of the time I enjoy coming out here. Sometimes, racing happens. But who else? Teammates at XLR. Solo Dolo again tonight, but they'll show up eventually, I hope. Anybody that tuned in my stream, I know I had Matt in there. Anybody that showed up in y'all's stream, and that's about it.
Well, Austin Collins, we appreciate the compliments. We certainly enjoy being up here watching you guys do battle week in and week out. Well, there he is. Car 1, P1 tonight. Austin Collins takes it home, Texas style. Cliff, back to you.
Thanks, Matt. That'll do it for us here at Texas. As you said, Austin Collins going across the line in first, going to hold on to his top position in the points as well. Hangs on to P1. James Pandolf going to come across the line in second in that 74 machine. Thomas Harmon rolls across third. Brendan Brorby in the 45 machine going to finish fourth, with Matt Sizzler finishing fifth. Jacob Drift comes across the line sixth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin brings that 8 machine home in seventh. Richard Springer is going to finish eighth. Larry McKenzie Jr. is going to finish ninth, with James Goodman finishing out our top 10 in that 22 machine. David Wright finishes 11th. Andrew McKenzie is going to finish 12th, with Larry McKenzie finishing right behind him in 13th. David Platts 14th. James Jacobs comes across the line 15th. And of course, Matt Metler up here in the booth with me, going out and getting some hot laps for us. Get us some information. So that'll do it for Sim Racing Media tonight in the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series. Again, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell notification if you want to get a ping. Matt, any last words before we sign off?
Yeah, my hot laps felt like cold laps compared to what I witnessed these guys turn out there on the racetrack. So maybe we could call it hot laps. I'm glad I wasn't out there. I would have stunk to join up pretty bad on these guys. But Cliff, you finally got your first taste of this ARCA car and Dynasty Racing League. What are your thoughts? What do you think of these guys?
It's quite the dynasty.
Well said.
Well, that'll do it for us. Be sure to join us next time right here in the booth. Matt and I will be back together tomorrow night and Tuesday, but we've got racing all night. Once again, thanks for watching and have a great evening.